Welcome back to the show. Glad you guys are making it back. We got more creepy videos that'll make you rethink reality. As always, these videos are for entertainment purposes only, so grab your snacks, kick back, and let's go.
This plane is crashing, and that's perfectly normal. It's a scientific experiment aimed primarily at finding out which seat on an airplane offers the best chance of survival. Rest assured, the only passengers were dummies, and the pilot parachuted out 3 minutes before the plane crashed at 142 miles per hour. And here are the study's conclusions. Passengers at the front of the aircraft would have had almost no chance of survival. Passengers seated near the wings, on the other hand, would likely have sustained fairly serious injuries, such as broken legs, but would nonetheless have had significant chances of survival. The dummies located at the back of the aircraft were almost intact. If they had been real passengers, they would most likely not have been injured at all. But wait, there's more. Now, you might think that it's therefore better to choose a seat at the back of the plane. Well, not necessarily, because sometimes the tail of the plane hits the ground first. In this case, it's the passengers at the back who suffer the most. So I recommend you choose a seat near the wings instead. You might break a leg, but statistically, that's where you have the best chances of survival. Subscribe for more videos.
You ain't got to tell me twice. Besides, who wants to sit in the back and listen to poop sounds the whole ride? Not me.
There's something very strange going on with the world's fairs. You are looking at rare archival photos that have been colorized. We are told that these extravagant buildings were built out of plaster in less than a year, only to be torn down shortly after the World's Fair, never to be seen again. This is the Chicago World's Fair, held about 20 years after the Great Chicago Fire. In this same time period, almost every great city in the Americas experienced either a great fire or an earthquake that destroyed almost all of the old buildings there. Let me ask you something. Do these buildings look like plaster of Paris to you? How could simple plaster be strong enough and safe enough to hold up these giant domes and keep the integrity of the structure secure during the entire events of the fair? And why would all of this be torn down shortly after the fair? In a time where there was hardly any population on the outskirts of Chicago, where did they get the manpower to complete this? Something isn't right.
Okay, if you can see floaters or have floaters in your eyes, there's a theory that these are actual interdimensional beings that you might be able to communicate with. Watch this. Disclaimer, I'm not saying I'm 100% believing in this. I read about it and I'm going to experiment with it and I will report back. But here's the theory. So there's this book that you can Google called Spiritual Dimensions of Eye Floaters. In it, it talks about how doctors say that eye floaters are just harmless little things that you should not pay attention to. The guy in the book says otherwise. He says that these floaters are the first appearance of luminous spheres, which he calls the light of consciousness. He talks about if you concentrate on these floaters, they can provide an exit from earthly existence, and you can also communicate with yourself or other consciousnesses with these floaters.
I wonder if I can see him. Ooh, let's try it. Let's see. Man, I don't see nothing. Oh, see? See? I knew she was lying, talking about some damn eye. In entertainment news, Britney Spears is celebrating her 5th birthday and has announced that she will be starting kindergarten this year. Please stand by for video footage. We do have to warn you that this footage may be graphic in nature. Please be advised.
It's my birthday. I'm not turning 42. I'm turning 5 this year. I'm turning 5 years old, and I have to go to kindergarten tomorrow.
The pop star also posted on Instagram that she is being portrayed by the paparazzi as wearing a Jason mask, and that is not her real face. Britney also is planning to move to Mexico, mostly because over there, 5-year-olds are allowed to buy cigarettes in bulk.
Post a few years back, a guy wrote, "My girlfriend moved out 3 weeks ago, and my cat Ruck was really close to her, and now that she's gone, I can tell he's a bit lonely, especially when I'm at work. I came home a few times to my curtains ripped up or toilet paper in shreds. And the last straw was when I came home after working late to find he had clawed a hole into the side of the sofa. I decided to do something. I tried different toys, even catnip, but nothing worked. One night while browsing Amazon, I saw a pet camera. It's a tiny camera that records your pet on a live feed so you can monitor their behavior while you're away. I got overnight shipping and installed it immediately. I decided to set it up in my bedroom as that's where my cat spent most of his time. The first day at work, I think I checked that camera 30 times. When I spoke into the microphone, my cat seemed to be happier and I noticed there was no more destruction around the house either. By day 4, I figured I'd solve the problem with my cat. That leads me to right now. About 30 minutes ago, I climbed into bed with my cat, ready to close my eyes, when my phone buzzed. A notification from the pet cam. I almost ignored it. Sure, I just triggered the thing, but I opened it anyways. Instead of a video of myself in bed, I saw a man, tall, gangly, with pale skin and large eyes. He was moving into my room with exaggerated steps, like a sneaking cartoon character. He walked right up to the lens and smiled. I immediately paused the video, terrified. I looked at the spot where the man should have been standing, but there was no one there. I went onto Amazon and found the pet cam and read the reviews, hoping for some weird glitch. It had to be a joke, right? The first dozen reviews were pretty standard, but it was the last that caused me to bolt upright. The customer complained that the camera was on a time delay, sometimes as much as 15 minutes. I went back to the video and pressed play with shaky fingers and watched in horror as the man slithered under my bed, giving the camera a wink before disappearing into darkness.
Now that right there looks like the infamous Hat Man. I think they could have chose a better name for the guy, but I'm pretty sure he was a private eye in a former life.
Have you ever heard of the conspiracy theory about Mrs. Puff? There's a theory that Mrs. Puff may have a very dark past. In the season 12 episode of SpongeBob titled Lighthouse Louie, it was revealed that before Mrs. Puff came to Bikini Bottom, she lived in a place called New Kelp City, and that she may have been responsible for a terrible accident that happened there. Because in that episode, there was a scene where SpongeBob was going through a whole bunch of junk, and he ran across this newspaper article. The article is from the New Kelp Post and reads, "Deranged boat teacher makes getaway." And then at the bottom says distracts authorities with balloon animals. And it clearly shows a picture of Mrs. Puff. But here's when things get a little spooky. It might be a clear indication that Mrs. Puff is not who she says she is. Because if you take it back to the season 2 episode No Free Rides, there was a scene where she says, "I have to move to a new city, start a new boating school with a new name." Then she says, "No, not again." Do you remember this part about distracting authorities with balloon animals? Rewind it back to this scene with the balloon animal. I don't know about y'all. I think Mrs. Puff got some explaining to do.
Let me find out Miss Puff was a real OG back in the day. That's my kind of woman right there. A chick that can put in work and then entertain the kids at the party right after.
I hope I still remember how to do this. Yeah.
This may be the most proof I've ever seen that the Illuminati actually exist. In this clip, Simon Lou starts talking about the Illuminati, and he turns his attention to Andrew Garfield, and notice what happens next.
Illuminati real? And if so, why haven't I been invited? Garfield, where are you? I know you know. I know you know.
Now let's look at that again. But that's nothing compared to this next one. Kelly Clarkson is interviewing Kevin Hart when she starts talking about being offered major money for sketchy things. Pay attention to Kevin's response.
Dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been offered, yeah. Oh, they're in the room.
It's almost like these actors know they shouldn't be talking about these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
What is going on? What is going on?
He woke up in the middle of the night and saw this. A man by the name Tristan explains that ever since he moved into a new home, he believes he's been visited by a strange entity who watches him at night. After many paranormal occurrences, Tristan began documenting the hauntings in hopes of find answers. But one night it's close to 3 a.m. when he's woken up to this. The sounds of someone running down the hall can be heard as something we can't see seems to just stop and watch him from the corner of the door.
Hey, if that's the worst thing a ghost can do is gently fold my drawers and put them back right on the head, it's better than being worried about getting choked out by Optimus in my sleep.
This is a true horrifying story, part 25. Warning, this is not a joke. The information that's going to be shared is dangerous and life-threatening. Do not, under any circumstance, commit the actions that will be narrated. This is the world's most dangerous book ever, Shams al-Ma'arif. This book was written by Ahmad al-Buni in the 17th century. But technically, the author of this book is not a human being. I never did and will never read this book. And this is your second warning. Do not read this book. Ahmad al-Buni practiced black magic, and he was in contact with the most powerful jinns and demons before he passed away. The jinns were the authors of this book. The elder generations, like our moms and dads, have heard about this book, and they were warned by it. There are thousands of horrifying stories of people who read this book. Shams al-Ma'arif explains everything about black magic, how to get in touch with the world of jinns, how to marry a jinn, and the sacrifices you have to do for the devil, and much more. Unfortunately, this book can be easily found online. One day, a Saudi Arabian man that read hundreds of books for a living decided to read this book specifically out of interest and love for all books, without fearing the consequences behind it. He reached the chapter that teaches readers how to get married to a female jinn. He laughed about it. He tried the ritual to experiment it. The first night after finishing the whole book and completing the marriage ritual, he felt someone breathing next to his face. And on the second night, he felt a hand touching his feet. And on the third night, he heard her voice. The man was officially locked in a marriage with a demon. 5 years go by. He met a normal, beautiful woman that he fell in love with, and they both decided to get married a week before the wedding day. The bride, the bride's parents, and the groom's parents all passed and died in 3 different car crashes. These are the consequences behind this book. And it's also known from many stories of people that have died from reading the first few pages. If you don't finish reading the book, you will get killed. All my stories, all of them, are true incidents that happened one time only. But this book is a product that is permanently available online. I beg you, do not go anywhere near Shams al-Ma'arif. This video is to educate you on the dangers behind this book. Do not go anywhere close to the world of jinns.
Now that's just dumb. Now why would you want to get married to a female jinn? That's like going to a car lot to buy Christine. My plan is to read the Holy Bible from beginning to end, no matter how long it takes me.
In the beginning, yeah,
This was just military exercise. Popping up on the radar looking like a storm.
Yeah.
Did it again, but they were basically like, this is not a weather formation. This is the military dropping chaff, shreds of aluminum, fiberglass, and plastic.
Why?
Used by the military to trick radars.
What?
So it's basically a blanketing system. The radars cannot penetrate through it.
AKA chemtrails!
Glitter, bro.
Wait, but that's poison. Is that raining down on us?
Yes.
The thing that I showed you. This chick is talking about, like, the rain is now toxic. She takes a cup, scoops it up, melts it down, and then takes a magnet on the side, and it's not dirt in the snow. It's literally pulling to the magnet all the debris from the snow.
Weird.
Dude,
Literally.
Don't eat the snow.
Dude,
Don't
but
eat the snow.
it's like So they're doing that, and it's just like when we see these planes when they're like so high, leaving this jet stream, chemtrail, dude, that's not just like a commercial airline. Like, what are they doing?
We're kind of preparing the U.S. population, at least, and by extension, the world population, into that reality that there is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence. Because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before, previous decades, and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that these are real, and we have 5 years from 2022, or maybe now 4 years, if they come in 2027, for the U.S. government to prepare the people about what is up there. And in many ways, I think the word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared, and if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do.
So do you remember the blue alien beings that Ross Coulthart spoke about 6 months ago? Take a quick look at this and I'll explain something to you.
Talking to people at the moment, and this is creepy, but people at the moment who are contacting me, and I've had 3 do it now, from all over the world, who say they've felt an urge to contact me, and they tell me that they've communicated with a blue being that has imbued them and downloaded them with information. And in one case, the person developed an ability to instantaneously understand physics equations, highly complex mathematics. And I've seen them do it. I can't explain it. But
so they could bring that information back. Information came back into the real, quotes, the real world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our cities will pullulate with sensors, all joined together by the Internet of Things. And the urban environment is as antiseptic as a Zurich pharmacy. But this technology could also be used to keep every citizen under round-the-clock surveillance. A future Alexa will pretend to take orders, but this Alexa will be watching you, clucking her tongue and stamping her foot. In future, voice connectivity will be in every room and almost every object. Your mattress will monitor your nightmares, your fridge will beep for more cheese, your front door will sweep wide the moment you approach like some silent butler. Your smart meter will go hustling of its own accord for the cheapest electricity, and every one of them minutely transcribing your every habit in tiny electronic shorthand stored.
Now wait just a minute, Alexa. You ain't gonna be running around my house stomping your feet yelling at me. I can always return you a free Amazon Prime for a more compliant model.
Lu jam jam scare aja.
Dang girl, I know we just met, but you can't be walking around the house without your wig and your lashes on. I told you I was on live.
I feel like kids can see ghosts that we can't see. This story is about an imaginary friend that was probably something way worse. And if you like spooky stuff, definitely check out my podcast. A woman in Virginia claimed that when her daughter was little, she used to have an imaginary friend that she called Little Michael. And at first it was all the normal imaginary friend stuff that kids do. She would ask if Little Michael could eat dinner with them. She would ask if Little Michael could tuck her in at night. But she also said that if Little Michael didn't do those things, that he would get mad, which the mom thought was kind of weird. But then one day the daughter is drawing, so the mom comes over to see what the daughter's working on. And she had drawn a stick figure of herself holding hands with a ghostly child figure that was in tattered clothes. This isn't the exact photo, but the child apparently had these deep, large black eyes and was holding wilting flowers in the other hand. So the mom's a little worried and she's like, "Hey, what are you drawing?" And the daughter's like, "Oh, it's Little Michael." The mom said the daughter demanded that that photo be put on the fridge, and after the drawing was placed on the fridge, Little Michael just kind of stopped showing up as much. The mom chalks it up to a little kid's imagination, but also says that anytime there's any sound in the house, that's all she can think of.
Jonathan O'Brien took this picture of a UFO in Yosemite National Park back in 1992 when taking the Yosemite Falls trailhead. Others around him also saw this strange glowing object in the sky and pointed and gasped. This was in plain daylight. However, park personnel had harassed some of these witnesses who publicly shared that they had taken pictures of this phenomenon at the time, even going as far as confiscating their cameras. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
Heard the term, the saying, if it flies, it spies? Well, you're going to want to take a look at this video. This comes from a witness who was out on his terrace and he noticed something weird in the sky. What appears to be a seagull flying around flashing a blue light as if it's coming from the inside of the seagull. Now, he checked the streets to make sure that there was nobody down there flashing it with some sort of laser. There was no storm. It wasn't being hit by lightning. He has no explanation for this. But it almost makes you wonder, is this some sort of spy bird? Take a look at this and tell me what you think.
What to do? Denver Airport with a new art installation in the center of the airport. We start off here with the world. At the South Pole, there is a gate, and then around the world is sand. At the North Pole, there's this pole that leads up to this arrow. The arrow points down to what it looks like perhaps a firmament, to a train station. I should also mention the world is depicted as flat over there. From the train station, from the arrow, we come down here. Perhaps a way to get in and out of the world as we know it. Again, surrounded by rocks and sand. Maybe this is where the lizard people live. Come on.
Score while you're one man down. I'll spin you the blow. Scott Yang seemed to have picked up a knock at previous attempt on goal. Two. We have another penalty on the ice here. Yes, two in the box now. Yeah, Yang Chi Mittens has come off as well. He joins Han D. Han D is about to go back on the ice. Got 5 seconds left.
Wow.
Two down for a few seconds there now. At least one man down. Yeah, and this could catch Hong Kong by surprise. Handy comes rushing back on.
Hey, that's a pretty cool trick. They should hire this guy at the local hibachi place. But you probably should leave that barbecue torchlighter at home right along with that gunpowder-filled napkin. But you might have some unintended consequences. Hey guys, that's it for tonight's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and comment on your favorite clips. Let me know which one was your favorite. And join the Space Crew by subscribing to the channel, because we rocking.